So it's another hot one, y'all. Sorry, I'm sweaty. And today's video features my cat, which I was going to edit out, but I decided it was pretty cool. And life comes with all sorts of distractions, doesn't it? So it's just fitting, of course. So today, a little bit, sorry, I don't know what happened there. A little bit of upper body work. We're gonna work with planks, side planks, right? So if your wrists hurt, just cushion them as much as you can and make sure the base of your index finger is firmly planted on the ground. And then we're gonna warrior, so hopefully you love at least one variation of warrior because that's what you'll get. So enjoy your practice. Thanks again for joining me. So we're going to start in Virasana today. So if you prefer to have a block or something else to prop up your hips sitting between your feet, that's fine. Just make sure your ankles are cushioned if they need to be. If this is too much for the knees, you can always just come to a seated position. We want to sit up nice and tall, engaging through the core as we always do. Closing the eyes, drawing the awareness inward. Begin to observe the breath without changing it just yet. And remember, we breathe all through the nose, gradually deepening each breath until you find your nice full yoga breath. Connecting movement to the breath, take the arms out. Inhale as you reach them up toward the sky, and then exhale as you bring them back down again. Allow the arms to reflect the breath again. And then once more. Inhaling, lift up to the top again. This time rotating from the belly button. Exhale, take your right hand forward and your left hand back. Inhale, come back up through the center. And we'll switch sides, taking the left hand forward and the right hand back. Following your breath, up, twisting left, back up again, and to the right. Again, left, and right. Once more like that. When you're back to center, just exhaling, release the hands back to the mat. And then inhale and lift again here. When you get to the top, interlace your fingers. Keeping the pelvis rooted as much as you can, gently exhale and take yourself over to the left. Inhale back up to the middle and hinge over to the right. So following your breath side to side like this. If it's too unstable, the left hand can reach toward the floor here to stabilize and then come back to center and you can switch, taking the right hand down. Listen to your body. Keeping the spine long, the shoulders relaxed. When you're back to center again, just exhale, releasing the hands to the mat. From here, we'll make our way around onto hands and knees. Wrists up underneath shoulders, knees up underneath the hips, grounding the four corners of the hand, especially that index knuckle. And then following your breath here on the inhale, take the belly toward the floor, lift the tailbone, pull the shoulder blades together, exhale and round your spine, reaching to the sky. following your breath in and out like that. Gently working a little deeper into the spine as you go. Again, just staying connected to the breath here. Once more. And find a neutral spine here. From our all fours, we're going to shift into kneeling plank. So the hands and handprints ahead, or the knees and knee print back, whatever makes that happen. And then we'll take the right foot to the right side of the mat, stay on that knee, open the body out to the left. So you're on your right hand with your right knee and your left foot all in one nice long line. And you can add all kinds of fancy things here, lifting the left arm, lifting the left leg. You can find the foot back there if you'd like, stretch over the ear as I am here. Lifting the hips a little higher, getting a bigger stretch through that left side. And then releasing that, rotate back into the kneeling plank. And we'll move to the second side. So the left foot's going to go out to the left. And the right foot will move to the back of the mat, right hand to the hip. Or again, extending up, forward, finding the foot, lifting the leg or not. Make this practice yours. Give it that little extra side stretch if that's you. Let's release it and make your way back into kneeling plank again. So making sure the belly stays in, shoulders back. We're going to bend the elbows just enough to bring them in line with the ribs and then hover for a moment. Pressing back up into kneeling plank. And then again, elbows in nice and tight to the sides. The shoulders are back, the chest is open. And back up. One more time. Keep the elbows in. Make sure you're breathing here. Press yourself up and go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. Shifting forward, come back to the kneeling plank or maybe take a full plank this time. Challenge yourself, but know your body. Make sure the body stays in a nice long line. We're bending those elbows, bring them in line with the rib cage, and then come all the way down. Slide the hands next to the side ribs, and then we'll roll into the shoulders to curl the chest away from the mat. You can pull with the hands, you can press a little bit, but keep the shoulders back. And then release, coming back down. Keep the elbows hugged in. Lift yourself up and sitting back into a down dog this time. So allow yourself to move and stretch here. Whatever feels good, let those triceps stretch out. Settling into your down dog. Let's shift forward into plank again. Check that your hands and feet are far enough apart here. And then lift back to down dog again. From here, step your left foot about halfway to the hands, letting your toes turn out to the left. That foot's flat to the floor. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot and come into this variation of side plank. So that left hand can stay at the hip and it can extend toward the ceiling. It can reach over the ear, any of those little fancy things that you'd like. And then move back into your down dog again. Switching sides, do the exact same thing. Step your right foot halfway to your hands. Toes turn out. We roll to the outside edge of the left foot. Keep that foot flexed, firm and strong. Right hand to your hip or up toward the sky. You decide. Releasing, make your way back to down dog again. Shift into a plank. Take it down to the belly. Roll into your cobra. And then release, lifting back to down dog. So then let's step the right foot forward and come into lunge. You can have a back knee down variation here for this first little piece if you like. We're going to climb up on the right thigh here, lifting the upper body as vertical as you can. The hands can stay down or the hands can reach. Relax into the shoulders, sink into the hips without letting your back knee bend too much, unless it's on the floor, of course. Drop the back heel and open the body in for warrior two. Check that you see your right big toe beyond your knee, looking for that knee and ankle alignment. Relax your shoulders. We'll take it back. Take your left hand to the back of the thigh. Reach your right palm up toward the sky. And then drop your right shoulder back as if you were interlacing your fingers and drawing your shoulder blades together. Let the chest open and lift. Tuck the tailbone down. If you want to reach behind the thigh a little bit deeper, entirely up to you. Find your stretch. And then back into that warrior two for a moment. Bend the right elbow, rest the forearm on the thigh, and bring the left arm up and over the ear. The right arm can rest or reach down to the inner calf. Try not to reach for the floor. It'll show up maybe one day. Let's release, come back into our lunge again. Let's take the right leg straight, give it a nice stretch, pressing through the hip. Wiggling, shifting if that feels good. All the weight into the right foot as we lift the left leg away from the mat. Maybe the leg is parallel to the ground, maybe not. The hands can stay on the mat or on a block or climb up on the thigh. You can fly the arms if you like. Then take the right hand back to the mat and your left hand to your hip and let the hips open. Feel as if you're stacking your left hip on top of your right, your left shoulder on top of your right. And then square it back up again and step way back into lunge. From there, making your way back to a down dog. Let yourself shift and wiggle. Slide forward, come to plank. Take it down. Roll into your cobra, inhale. And then release that, move back into down dog. Ready for the second side? Go ahead and step your left foot forward. Bring your toes to your fingers. Remember, the right knee can be on the mat if you need that variation. When you're ready, climbing up to the thigh. Pressing away, come as vertical as you can. And then maybe reach the arms. Dropping the back heel to open the body. Take a second to adjust your feet. Make sure they're where you need them to be and you can see your big toe beyond your knee, yes? Taking the right hand to the back of the thigh, left palm reaching up. Draw the shoulder blades together, let your chest open and lift. Reaching around more to the inner thigh, giving it a little extra pull if that's you. And then back to warrior two. Bend the left elbow, rest the forearm, right arm up and over the ear. Try not to lean too heavily on the leg, and if you don't really need to lean, just let the arm dangle down the inside of the leg. Keep the knee open, the hips descending, and this right shoulder drawing back. Release, make your way into lunge. And then left leg straight here. So here too, that right knee can be on the floor if you need it. Let yourself shift and wiggle into that hip. And then bending back into the knee, let's hop forward, lifting the right leg away from the mat, parallel to the floor-ish, climbing up, maybe flying the arms, you decide. And then the left hand to the mat, right hand to the hip, open the hips, stacking right over left, stacking right shoulder over left. Remember to breathe. And then release, dropping the hip, stepping way back for the lunge again. And then back to down dog. One last time. Shifting forward, come to plank. Knees if you need knees at this point, down to the belly. Rolling up into your cobra. And then releasing. This time, press yourself up and back into a child's pose. Nice and gentle. Big, full breaths. Letting the body rest a moment. Let's shift forward, come back into plank or kneeling plank. Lifting the hips into down dog. We're going to move into our side plank once again. So you can take the kneeling variation where we were earlier. You can bring the left foot halfway to the hands and take that variation if that's you. Or maybe this time we shoot for a full plank. So if you are, shift forward into full plank and simply drop your heels over to the right. So the feet can be one in front of the other if that's easier for balance. They can stack. And that left hand again can be on the hip or extending toward the ceiling. Releasing that. Make your way back to down dog. Shifting to the second side, again, whichever variation you prefer here. Knee down, foot in front, full side plank. Listen to your body. Add any little bells and whistles that might feel like fun. And then rotate back into plank and down dog again. We'll drop down to the knees. Take a few breaths in child's pose. Let it all go. From here, let's go ahead and move into kneeling plank and drop down to the belly. You can always just slide down to the belly too. And while we're here, we want to make sure the tailbone stays pointing down at the mat, keeping the lower back long. And then taking the arms either down the sides of the body or interlaced behind the back. Roll into your shoulders and curl the chest away from the floor. Grounding into the feet, lengthen your spine. And then gently release back down. So then you can do that exact same thing again, otherwise bumping it up a little bit. Bend the knees and reach back and find your feet. And sometimes finding one foot is a little easier than the other at first. If you can only do one at a time, that's totally fine. Tuck the tailbone, roll into the shoulders, and curl the chest away from the floor. You can press the feet into the hands and get a little lift, and maybe the thighs lift up off the mat, and maybe they don't so much. You may rock back and forth a little bit with your breath. That's normal. Release it all the way back down to the belly. And we'll make a little pillow for the head with the hands. Turn the toes to point toward each other and just shift back and forth on your hips a little bit here. Shake out your back. Take the hands next to the side ribs and then just gently make your way up and all the way back into a child's pose. From here, let's come to sit up on the heels. Prop on a block if you need to prop on a block still. Sit between your heels, down on the mat if you like. And then bring the right arm out in front, elbow bent here. Weave the left arm underneath, weaving your hand between your face and the arm and hooking the fingers on the right palm there. Rest your shoulders, maybe lift your elbows or adjust your hands forward or away from your face. Find the stretch. Gently release that and move to the second side. So the left arm comes out, the right arm winds under, bringing the hand between the face and the arm and hooking the fingers. Adjusting your shoulders, your elbows, your hands. Releasing the arms, give them a roll, and then come to a seated position. We'll stretch the legs out long here, taking inner thigh rotation if you haven't already. Make sure you're upright on your pelvis. Sitting tall, reaching the arms up, hinging from the hip and coming over into a fold. As always, just let your hands fall where they do. That may or may not be your toes. Lengthening your spine. Connecting to your breath here. With an inhale, lifting back up again. Exhale, releasing the arms. From here, aligning the heels to the groin, coming into that seated easy pose. Making sure you're upright on the pelvis, of course, and sitting tall. Let's take a little twist to the left, right hand to the knee, left hand behind the body. Nice full breaths here. Releasing as we come back through the center, over to the second side. Same idea, nice long spine, even on your seat. Releasing back to center. Finding comfortable, so maybe staying seated, maybe dropping back into Shavasana, wherever you need to be today. Returning the attention back solely to the breath. Allowing yourself to stay connected, quiet, and present. And remember, you can always stay here as long as you'd like. Namaste.